This is the thing that you have to, based on position, based on length of career. You can't look at those things without making this list. What's going to be a priority? If I have a position, especially being a positional player, quarterback, that he might not be a star, but if he's dependable, because of the emphasis on the position, because of what I would have to spend to replace him, that's going to be my number one priority. Ezekiel Elliott's the most talented. Amari Cooper, you could debate, is he more talented as a wide receiver than Dak is as a passer? You could make that argument, but it's easier to find a wide receiver, so that would be my third priority. Zeke only second because he's been to the principal's office a couple times already, and I wish I could sit here and say, you know something, man, going into year number 4, Nick,
Zeke
I can guarantee
it'll never happen again.
Yeah, he might be in New York City, not to be on this show, but down at Park Avenue where the commissioner's office is. So that's on the board based on what he has shown off the season, already been suspended once. So for me, Dak Prescott, who's playing for the Cowboys in 6, 10 years? I think Dak is the only one on the board that you can be like, yeah. So for me, that's got to be the priority. It's harder to find a quarterback, and Dak's going to typically say all the right things, do all the right things, and he's shown to be an effective leader.
All right, so here's I would potentially agree with you if I thought I was going to be able to get Dak at a reasonable number. But if Dak,
I mean, everyone you're calculating a reasonable number. Like, I'm not overpaying for any of them.
Okay, but I'm just talking about given Dak's own statements, given what he talked about in this interview. He's like, hey.
He said up there. He said top paid for Amari.
Top paid for Zeke, and I want to be up there. Right, but he also said other things that, to me, he was like, yeah, with all this gambling money that's going to come into the league, hey, the salaries keep going up. It's our turn. Then, you know, in a few years, other guys. Dak, it's not your turn to be one of the 5 highest paid quarterbacks in football. It's not. It might be your turn for a contract. And if you're you guys know how I feel about this, that the no man's land in the NFL is paying a serviceable quarterback, star quarterback money. I know what Amari Cooper can do. I know when he's on the field what Zeke can do. So I would have actually the exact opposite order of Chris. Amari, I traded a first. Of course. I didn't know that was going to be your order, but I traded a first-round pick for Amari. He's in the final year of his deal. I can't let him go play the final year of his deal because I potentially need that franchise tag. You only got one of them for the quarterback. So I'm paying Amari. I'll see what the deal is with Zeke as far as if I can get him to agree to a contract that has some voids in it if he does get sent back to Commissioner Goodell's office. And then I go to Dak. Say, listen, man, based on what you've done, 64. How many games? 48 games played as the quarterback. Good record, 32-16. As far as individual play, first season, second half of the final season, really good. Those middle 24 games, not so good. I will pay you accordingly. If you want to bet on yourself, more power to you. And we can revisit this in a year when we have the ability to franchise tag you if we can't come to an agreement. But I would be very nervous about committing $100+ million guaranteed like Carson Wentz got to a player that has not yet proven to me he's that caliber.
So you feel more comfortable giving Amari Cooper $80 million over 4?
I would call it 75. Yeah, sure. I would. Absolutely. Because I am very confident that Amari Cooper can be an elite player at his position. I know.
But he's not going to make you a Super Bowl. He's not going to make you a Super Bowl. It's not going to. Like, you can get wide receivers.
Correct.
And I'm not trying to say Amari is not a good player, but I'm just talking about prioritizing and what's more important, because how much leadership are you getting out of a wide receiver and a running back? See, that's what a lot of times we miscalculate. That quarterback, if he can play and what he can give to the defense, what he can give to the whole organization from a boost standpoint, it's so much more valuable than the other position.
No doubt. And if these 3 guys see we're all free agents, then Dak would have to be my top priority. If they all could leave, if it's like you might not be able to bring them back next season, then of course it's the quarterback. But because they're all under contract, anyone that I'm paying based in part on how confident I am they're going to continue to get better or maintain their performance in the future. And Dak's the one I'm the least confident in that regard.
But that's what we would do. We've heard from Jerry Jones. Jerry loves Dak. Jerry seems like he's going to pay Jack and pay Jack handsomely, much more so than whether you think he deserves it or not. Do you think he does it soon, or do you think he waits?
They have to pay him before the season. They have to sign him before the season starts. It puts a lot more at jeopardy. How does Dak respond to that, playing last year of his contract? And one thing Dak and the Cowboys have to be careful. They got some other guys on that team, young guys, they got to pay. Right tackle, La'el Collins, his contract is up. He slipped in the draft coming out of LSU because some stuff before the draft. On that defense, Jalen Smith, he slipped in the draft because he got hurt. He's looking to get paid. Byron Jones Leighton Vander Esch is going to be a big-time player. So while you're trying to dish out all this money, the defensive players in their meetings, they're like, listen, they read the clips. They read what the quarterback's saying.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you real quick, because when I read these comments, my first blush reaction was, that's nice of Dak, saying make Zeke the highest paid, make Amari the highest paid. You felt like this was a misstep.
I felt like it was stupid.
Yeah.
It was stupid because you undermine what other guys are trying to do. We know that Jalen Smith, he's talked about getting a contract. He said, you know, when Jerry's ready, that's when I'm going to get my contract. People have these conversations. People care about their money. Man, because I was one of the highest paid with the Vikings, man, guys on the team used to call me Denny's son-in-law, Little Denny, things like that. Guys take it personal when other guys, especially if they might have some help, well, maybe they only care about the offensive players. They only interview them. They only do all the autographs. They make all the off-field money. They get all the endorsements. You start dividing the team up when you start getting comments like that. Why didn't he comment on the other guys?
Right.
Because if I'm the reporter, I'm like, hey, what about the linebacker? Don't you need some defense? What about your right tackle? Isn't he important? So Dak has to be careful in trying to get his contract, the things that he's going to say, because that locker room is going to hold him accountable for them.
All right, I got it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.